Assalamu alaikum. Today is our sixth lecture. It's going to be about the Arabic sentences. Here we are going to be introduced to the types of the sentences. What are the things that make a sentence and what are the types of each part of the sentence. Our learning agenda for today will be, the first thing we'll be discussing is the nominal sentence, which is al-jumlatul ismiya. The second thing we'll be talking about here is going to be the verbal sentence, which is al-jumlatul fi'liya. It's from the name. And then there is type of information. There's different elements of the sentence. First element, second element. So the second element, we call it an information. So there is type of this information: semi-sentence, nominal sentence, verbal sentence, and single word sentence or information. So this type of information has those four types. Let's start with the nominal sentence. Nominal sentence in the Arabic language is the sentence that starts with a name. We call it therefore jumlatun ismiya, a name sentence or a noun sentence. It follows the same structure of the English sentences. English sentences usually is SVO. This type of sentences is following the same structure. So what makes that sentence? What does this sentence have? What does it consist? مكونات الجملة الاسمية. ما هي المكونات? The consistent. المبتدأ, which is the commencement, and then which is a noun like الولد, تونس, الرجل, محمد. All of these are nouns, but we will be discussing something more advanced in the coming two slides about this al, which is the article. And the second thing is al-khabar, which is the information, which was we were talking about in the previous slide. So we will have al-mubtada, which we start the sentence with, and we have al-khabar, which we end the sentence with. So nominal sentence, the most important thing is that this sentence starts with a noun. This is what we have to understand here. We will have some examples here. These examples might help us to understand the situation. So from the first element, we'll have al-mubtada, which is al-waladu. And from al-khabar, we'll take mujtahid, which is the boy, diligent. We will take another example. From mubtada, I'll take Tunis, which is the country, Tunis. Jamilatun, which is beautiful. So Tunisia is beautiful. Is beautiful. In English language, we add is, but in Arabic language, we don't have such helping verbs. We don't have it. So الرجل سعيد. الرجل, the man. الرجل سعيد. محمد كبير. If you try to realize something here, I will be identifying what is the thing that I'm talking about. But let us first finish with the elements of the sentence. So al-mubtada, which is al-waladu, tunisu, al-rajulu, muhammadun, all of these are mubtada. We call it mubtada, which we start the sentence with. And it should be a name, a noun. And of course al-khabar, which is the information, mujtahidu, jamilatun, sa'idun, kabirun. As you can see here, in English language, we write the helping verb is, just to assist us to have the sentence in a nice, good shape, or rightful shape. It's rightful shape. So is discarded in Arabic language. We don't have such helping verbs because the verb goes by itself. As you can see here, al-waladu mujtahidun, tunisun jamilatun, al-rajulu sa'idun, muhammadun kabirun. If you realize, if I'm using al, which is the article, when I'm using it, the critical mark will be dhamma on the mubtada. But if I use a noun that is well known, like Tunis or Muhammad, which is a name, we use tanween al-dhamm. Now I will explain it in much more in a very practical way, but just to identify here, I'm using the dhamma here because of al, and then as you can see here, al-waladu, al-rajulu. But Tunis, we don't have al. We don't have al. That's why we keep it as it is. Al-waladu, we use dhamma. Al-rajulu, we use dhamma as well. Tunis, we use tanween. Muhammadun, we use tanween. And of course, the information, the other part of the sentence would be tanween al-dhamm. So this is a major rule. We have to understand it before we go into the next slide. Tunisun, Muhammadun, those are nouns. Actually, all of them, the four of these sentences, the beginning of these sentences are noun. But here I just want to identify that the critical mark is what plays the role here. Like if it's a noun, if it's a well-known noun, then it's gonna take tanween al-dhamm. If it's not known and we just put the article, then it's gonna be only dhamma. Let's have some examples here. These examples will be a little bit advanced. We have to understand or try to understand it. Masrun dawlatun Arabiyyatun. Egypt is an Arab country. If you try to notice something here, I needed two words to form the noun here, or the nominal part of the sentence. I needed two words. In the second example, I needed only one word. So the previous example, Egypt is Arab country. I used is. Egypt is the commencement, and is an Arab country is the information. The tree again, it's al-mubtada. Is big is the al-khabar. الشجرة كبيرة. المجمع التجاري مغلق. The mall is closed. I'm just putting these lines or slashes just to understand that these are C. For mubtada I will write C, and for the khabar I'm going to write I, which is information. Just to try to understand how we are going to pronounce that. مصر دولة عربية. الشجرة كبيرة. المجمع التجاري مغلق. So try to notice here, as I was saying before, if I'm using al, the diacritical mark will be dhamma, as you can see here, al-mujamma', al-shajaratu. I'm using dhamma at the last letter of the word. Al-mujamma', shajaratu. But again, if we are using a well-known name, country, or a person name, we will put tanween al-dhamm. As you can see here, al, like ash-shajaratu al-mujamma', and dhamma will be the diacritical mark used for this word. But did you notice something in the third example? I'll be explaining it now. Just try to notice this. So if the noun is well known, it's a country or a person name, as I was saying, so we will put tanween dhamm in the last letter of the word. Like مصر دولة عربية. I needed two words to express the noun. So here is what I was trying to say. In case we needed two words to form the commencement, the first, as like the first example, مصر دولة, مصر Egypt, دولة state. So we put tanween dhamm. If it's not noun, if it's not well known, it's a noun, but it's not well known. So we'll put al and then dhamma to express that. As you can see in the third example, I'm using two words to express, has been expressed by al. If you notice that, still I used dhamma in both. If rather than I said مصر دولة عربية, I said الدولة العربية. Because of al, the last letter will be having dhamma, not tanween dhamm, and then the information of that sentence. But because of Masr, which is well-known country, Dawlatun is following Masr, or it has been because of Masr. It's clear that I'm talking about this dawla, and this dawla is expressed by Masr, so it will take tanween dam, not dhamma. Now let's shift to the verbal sentence. The verbal sentence in the Arabic language exactly the same of the nominal sentence, but this time it starts with the verb. Therefore we call it jumlatun fi'liyatun. Jumlatun fi'liyatun. Fi'liya means verb, verbal. That's why we call it jumlatun fi'liya. Everything is related with the same name. Any sentence that starts with the verb and that verb is the starting of that sentence, which is the normal type of the sentence in Arabic, which is VSO, is jumlatun fi'liya, a verbal sentence. What does this sentence have? What does it compose? How can we form it? As we have introduced to this in the previous lecture, we will have verb, which is al-fi'l, which is the verb. And as you can see here, I started here with al-fi'l, not with the commencement, like in the nominal sentence. Here I started with al-fi'l, which is the verb, and then al-fa'il, which is the subject. As you can see here, this is the normal type of the sentences in Arabic language. This is the normal structure. It comes exactly the same in the verbal sentence. As you can see here, subject, and then the object, which is al-maf'ul, which is the object. Let's use these words, which we are putting them in these tables, and form sentences using them. But first we have to understand that this is the normal structure of the Arabic language. Exactly the same table. I'm going to put them here. I will take from the first table the word daraba, which is hit, al-waladu, the boy, al-kurata, the ball. Daraba, the diacritical mark over the letter ba will be fatha, al-waladu over dal, dhamma, al-kurata, fatha. Again, I'm going to take the other example. It will be, as much as examples we are giving here, it's going to be more clear and more obvious to us to understand or to make that sentence in a very right way. So, شرب الطفل الحليب. شرب الطفل الحليب. Even if there is no diacritical mark, but still, this is the verb. We can see that this is the verb. And الطفل, we use dhamma, and al-haliba, we used fatha. Exactly the same arrangement, the same structure, the same way we wrote sentences in one of the previous lectures that we had. We used exactly the same sentences. Oh, this sentence, غسل الرجل السيارة, we use that exactly the same sentence. But I always try to get my examples to be close to each other, just to know what is the things that are going to be changed in the sentence or the thing that we are trying to explain here. So whenever you see the examples, I'm trying with all of the examples that I'm using to be similar or almost same to each other, just to know what is the things that might be changed. So here from this slide, what we need to understand is ضرب الولد الكرة. This is the normal structure of the Arabic language, which is the verbal sentence. This type of sentence is the normal structure. And the diacritical mark, which is the verb فتحة, الولد ضمة, الكرة فتحة. The boy hit the ball. The child drank the milk. The man washed the car. Once we put the, this will be the noun. When we put the boy, the child, the man, these are all nouns. This noun, the way, if you want to translate the sentence in English language, it will exactly the same, like literally we need to translate the sentence, it will be jumlatun ismiya, Because the nominal sentence follows exactly the same structure of the English language. That's why I'm trying to identify this here for you, just to try to connect the information together. So let's have some examples now about the verbal sentence. أمسك الشرطي باللص. The policeman caught the thief. If I say the policeman and then I stopped, you won't benefit anything. What's wrong with the policeman? I don't know what's wrong with them. So the policeman caught the thief. أمسك الشرطي باللص. فتح الرجل الدكان. The man opened the shop. حكى العجوز قصة. The old man told a story. حكى العجوز قصة. So let's notice here. In the English sentence, the shop, as you can see here, the shop. Can you see the second example? If you look at the second example, we used the man and the shop. To have it in short, the diacritical mark here, as we explained before in the lecture that is related to the diacritical marks, whenever you use these diacritical mark, it will indicate for you which one of these is the subject, which one of these is the object, and which one of them is the verb. Whenever you replace, you put this word before that word, but here we just going away from the verbal sentence type, but just to have it as a general information for us. So in Arabic language, whenever we change the words order, the diacritical mark let us know what is the verb, what is the object, and what is the subject in the sentence. But here, what we have to understand before we move to the next slide is that the verbal sentence starts with the verb, and then the information would be the next part. أمسك, فتح, حكى. All of them are verbs. Now let's start with the type of information. The other part of the sentence now, it has types. These types, first one is the semi-sentence. As we can see here in the definition, the semi-sentence in Arabic language is the sentence that has no meaning alone. It can't stand alone. Therefore, we call it shibh jumla. It's semi-sentence. It's not a sentence, but it's semi-sentence. Because it's going to be only one element that is missing for it to be a sentence. That element is the al-mubtada. So what are the types of the semi-sentence? The first one is ظرف زمان, ظرف الزمان, ظرف الزمان, which is the adverb of time. سافر محمد يوم الخميس. Muhammad traveled on Thursday. On Thursday. This is the time he traveled. When did he travel? On Friday, at 5, at 4 o'clock. So anything that expresses time, this is ظرف الزمان. ظرف المكان, adverb of place. But as you can see here, I'm trying to explain here, الطائرة, which is the plane, الطائرة, this is المبتدأ. فوق الغيوم, it's the verb, it's the information, but this information starts with a place. فوق الغيوم, where exactly is the plane? It's over the clouds. So this is the khabar, this is the information. That's why we said the type of information. So type of information, the first one is semi-sentence. This type has 3 kinds, which is ظرف الزمان, ظرف المكان, الجار والمجرور. الجار والمجرور, we explained it before when we discussed the preposition. If you remember, in that previous lecture, we discussed the prepositions when we put ba before the noun, ba or fi or min or an or ala, those prepositions. These called semi sentences. It's most famous. ظرف الزمان وظرف المكان, usually we use them sometimes, but mostly we use these prepositions. So as you can see here, we are talking about the information, which is the first type of the information, semi-sentence. We're talking about the second part of the sentence, which is the information. All of what we are talking about now is the second part of the sentence. So this is the second type of the sentence, which is the nominal sentence. It's pretty much close. Nominal sentence, we just discussed the nominal sentence, but this one is nominal sentence that expressed in the information. So the information would start with the noun, as you can see here. But in this time, it can't stand alone. It's a nominal sentence, but it's a type of information. Like in here, الطفل, this is the noun, this is noun. الطفل, which is the boy, شعره طويل. If I say شعره طويل, those two words are expressed to be information, but because the information, the other part of the sentence starts with a noun, that's why we said جملة اسمية or nominal sentence. But if I say شعره طويل, hair is tall, what is the information that I'm giving to you? This is an information, but it's not full information. It can't stand alone. Like when I say السيارة, the car, colors, the car's color is nice. السيارة لونها جميل. When I say that, exactly the same, the other part of the sentence, which is السيارة, this is the first part, which is the commencement, which is المبتدأ, and لونها جميل الخبر. As you can see here, I'm just giving you a note here that S, apostrophe S, this one in English language expressed in the nominal sentence type of information. So let's go to the third type, which is the verbal sentence. Exactly the same of nominal, but this time it will be verb. So the information will start with a verb, not with a name, not with a noun. الشمس, this is a noun. الشمس, noun. تشرق صباحا, the sun rises in the morning. So الشمس, noun. تشرق صباحا is information. As you notice here, the information starts with a verb, which is تشرق. تشرق. This is a verb, and because it starts with a verb, we said that this type of information is verbal sentence. The second example here, السمك, the fish, comes tomorrow. السمك يأتي غدا. السمك يأتي غدا. يأتي, تشرق. Those two words are verbs. We started the second part of the sentence with them. That's why we said this type of information is a verbal sentence type. So here we have to differentiate between those things, because the semi-sentence has three types by itself, but the information, the type of information are only four: semi-sentence, nominal sentence, and verbal sentence, and then the single word. Single word. This is the fourth, not the third. I'm clear. This is the fourth type of the information. So a single word is one type of information, second part of the sentence, not a sentence, not a semi-sentence, and can't stand alone. As you can see here, I'm just focusing here about the phrase can't stand alone, because it's just type of information. It's an information, but there's something called al-mubtada, which is everything will be built on it. As you can see here, الزهرة رائعة, the flower is amazing. The flower is amazing. It's something simple. I use only one word to express in this sentence, to be expressed in this sentence. رائعة. الزهرة رائعة. It's a single word. The second part consists only of a single word. الشجرة خضراء. The tree is green. The tree is green. As I said before, is in the Arabic language, there's no helping verbs. So in the Arabic language, we just write the two words next to each other. The critical marks play the role. الزهرة, noun. رائعة, information. الشجرة, noun. خضراء, information. So this sentence consists of the al-mubtada and al-khabar. Al-khabar is mufrad, which is single word. So let's have a last slide explanation just to wrap up all of the information that we have just learned. The nominal sentence consists of the commencement, which is the noun, and then the information, which has these types: semi-sentence, noun, verb, sentence, and then the singular, which is the single word. 1. Semi-sentence. 2. Nominal sentence. 3. Verbal sentence. And 4. The single word sentence. We cannot say sentence because it's only a single word. So this is for the nominal sentences. As we expressed before, semi-sentence is the one that has the three types, which is adverb, and then the prepositions. Now let's go to the verbal sentence. Commencement is the verb, and then semi-sentence or subject and object. As you can see here, semi-sentence, which is the preposition, and or subject and object. Subject and object is the normal structure. Semi-sentence, just to understand the scenario here. So let's do one practice before we finish this class. We want to match the sentence to its type. I'm going to use exactly the same subject, the same verb, and the same object, but I'm going to change some elements in the sentence just to differentiate, to understand that you are able to differentiate between these types of sentences. So first, let's try to read these sentences. Let's try to understand them. Of course, the type of sentences that we have to match them with, we have to match these sentences with, is single information, verbal sentence, nominal sentence, adverb place, adverb time, nominal information. Single, verbal, nominal. Try to focus here. I said nominal sentence, and the last one is nominal information. Nominal information. So this is the difference between nominal sentence and nominal sentence in the information. Let's try to read. سكب العامل الإسمنت. The worker poured the cement. العامل سكب الإسمنت. The worker poured the cement. In the English language, we don't have any changes. العامل سكب الإسمنت فوق البيت. The worker poured the cement over the house. العامل سكب الإسمنت عند الساعة الخامسة. The worker poured the cement at 5. العامل وظيفته سكب الإسمنت. The worker jobs is to pour the cement. العامل مجتهد. The worker is active. Now, after we read these sentences and we know what does they mean, we have to match now. Single information. العامل مجتهد. The word مجتهد, which is active, it's simple. It's one word expressed the information. That's why we said single information. It's a single information. العامل is the commencement, and مجتهد is information. Verbal sentence. As you can see here, I started with سكب. سكب is فعل. As we know that if I started with any word, first thing we need to understand, is this word familiar to us? Is it well known? If it's not, then is it start with al? No, that means it's not noun. So سكب, it's a verbal. And the other one, العامل, I started with al here. See? العامل سكب الأسمنت. The translation for the nominal sentence here, العامل سكب الأسمنت, it has the same order with the English translation. العامل سكب الأسمنت فوق البيت. Over the house. Adverb place. العامل سكب الأسمنت عند الساعة الخامسة. It's a time. It's from the name. We're talking about time, and it's a time mentioned in the sentence. العامل وظيفته سكب الأسمنت. Nominal information. The nominal information, the commencement is العامل. وظيفته سكب الأسمنت. If I say وظيفته سكب الأسمنت, you won't understand anything from this sentence. وظيفته سكب الأسمنت. His job is to pour cement. Who? You will say who? العامل. This is المبتدأ. This is the commencement. So from this practice, we have to understand that the critical marks plays a very critical role to make us understand or identify which is the verb and the object and the subject in the sentence. The second thing, we need to understand that if the sentence starts with a verb, we have to know right away that this sentence is a verbal sentence. If it starts with al, or a well-known person name, or well-known country, or well-known name, noun, then it's a nominal sentence. As you can see here, I start with al. In the Arabic language, once you start with al, that's mean it's a noun. العامل سكب الأسمنت in the third example, فوق البيت. العامل, again ضمة over العامل because it's a subject. سكب again, it's a subject, is a verb. الاسم انت مفعول به, which is object. As you can see here, I start with al. That's a noun. That's a noun. For us, to understand, to differentiate, we have to know that if it starts with al, as I was just saying. Here in the fifth example, وظيفته is the apostrophe s. You know, the possessive s. That's the nominal information in the Arabic language. Nominal information. العامل مجتهد is the single type of the information. So here, just to conclude all of what we have just learned, the critical marks are really important. Al plays a really critical role to make us understand the situation, and everything will be just fine till this point. I wish you understand, and I wish you get the ideas that we are trying to understand here. That's it for today. See you next class.